Welcome to how to create your high ticket offer and actually sell it in 59 minutes. So in this quick short time together, we're gonna focus directly as if you came to my house or we were doing a consult call and we had to get your offer dialed in and have you confident and feeling really good about launching it. Like what price point, who are we selling it to, what are the main pain points that we're solving, how do we package that, what's the sales process, and then how do we grow that? And so that is a big chunk to try and cover in 1 hour. But one of the things that I want to do was really answer the question of how do I either gain momentum with the existing offer that I already have? Like maybe there's parts of it that are a little confusing, or maybe you're an expert, you have something you want to get out into the world and you want to take your expertise and you want to turn it into a profitable business, one that you're proud of, one that you're excited about, so that you can actually impact people, but turn that into a career, I hate using that word, turn that into a really profitable, fun business in a way that creates freedom, profitability, cash flow, recurrent income, and then hopefully generational wealth down the line. I'm Ed O'Keefe. I will be your instructor today. To give you a little background on myself in 30 seconds or less, just because of the time, I probably like a lot of you guys did not get my college degree in business or marketing or anything like that. I actually got my degree in nursing, and I was the 12th of 13 kids, and I was the first one from my whole family to actually go and get a degree. But then I came home and I said to my parents, I'm not going into nursing. I'm going to go be an entrepreneur, which if you know what that means, I was going to be broke many times, or I should say for a long time. And then on the borderline of that many times when I've launched other businesses, trying to figure things out. And the one thing that changes everything for myself personally and yourself, and no matter whether you're just starting out, whether you're trying to blast to the next level, is always this power of an offer. So that is why whenever you're looking at how do we take a business to the next level, you always got to look at the offer and the audience you're speaking to, because one offer can dramatically change everything for yourself, for me. Now, the quick story on this is when I was on my little journey, it wasn't until I heard a guy say, your income is directly correlated to your ability to write sales copy and create offers. And man, I needed to hear that. And so I felt if I could just create an offer, if I just got good at that one skill and was able to use my words or my ability to type, then I could transform my life. And so that was the thing, the light bulb that kind of went off. And I've been in with the different businesses I've started, scaled, sold millions and millions of dollars with them in coaching business, in the supplement business, in consulting and coaching. And the quality of the offer is always the determinant of the speed at the growth of the business. Now, I have similar thoughts on like overall health of business, like the cash flow and margins, but that's not really for this. And so I want to encourage you that I, at the time, took my expertise, which was coaching volleyball. I was in love with mental toughness. I was in love with teaching positive thinking. I turned that into a course, put it online. And then I realized that I'd never be able to make real money selling to volleyball coaches, because as you're going to hear in a moment, when we go through your offer and your audience, that audience doesn't have any money, right? Parents have money. So if you're going to make money in volleyball or club sports nowadays, there's money there. But for us, people that want to sell products and digital products or our expertise online to sell premium price products, it just wasn't really there. And that's when I made the jump into the dental profession. And I had no experience in that market. And I was young, naive, but I leveraged other people's wisdom, super important. We'll talk about it again in a second. And I licensed other people's intellectual property, and I was able to test some ads, get some sales, make some tweaks and build out coaching clubs, which is what we're going to talk about here in a moment, or high price licensing opportunities in order to grow that business for many years and then sell it. And that was in that business. Since then, I've grown supplement businesses on my own. And then I have also been on behind the scenes of many different coaches and consultants, helping them launch their offer either from scratch or to an existing audience, a new offer or an existing offer, and we're making it better. And I have clients right now that I'll look at their offer, we'll still make it better. Now, the reason why I think you're very wise for being here today is because price is one of those things that is all in your ability to ask for it, position it, and to create price elasticity in order to make the actual investment of the end buyer disappear. So how do you get people to actually spend money with you, but the dollar amount is not what they're so focused on, but the payoff and the end result is where we put their focus, okay? I'm gonna move quick. Hopefully you will obviously have a copy of this, and I really would encourage you to watch it a couple times. If you like how I teach, if my goal today is to create value in a massive way, we obviously have other things to support you with. Like we have our challenge coming up, we have some live events, we have private coaching and group coaching. And so obviously those are things that this low-end training is to allow people to figure out if they like what I'm doing, allow me to transform some things you're working on, and then, yeah, we'll go from there. So let's walk through this. Let's first of all and foremost, so let's talk about you, okay? So the question is that if I was sitting there and I said, hey, listen, man, what do you do that you feel like you're uniquely gifted at that people are either already paying you money for, they're already paying you money, you've spent years maybe developing an expertise, so you're uniquely qualified, okay? And the reason why I always like looking at like, where are they already paying you money? Because that is usually the road to where your best offers are going to come out of. And the other side of that too is a lot of times when clients come to us, they'll say, hey, look, Ed, I'm spending way too much time. So I'll tell you about Jeff Hampton. So Jeff was an attorney spending way too much time with docs, or not with docs, with investors who needed asset protection. And the challenge that he was having is that he was doing all these one-on-ones and he was educating people from scratch every single time. And so the purpose of him creating a high ticket offer and some digital assets is that he just wanted to leverage his time. Okay. And so right now, so he was already getting paid the dollar amount, but he was trading time for money at a massive level. Okay. Now, another example is my friend RF, Roland Frazier. He was helping people buy businesses. Actually, no, he was doing it himself with no money out of pocket, right? And he called it consulting for equity. Okay. Now, when I had known him for a long time, when I started helping him to launch it to his existing list, the idea was there. Some of the outlines of his trainings were there, but he just didn't have the time to put it together. Now, so what I want to say to you is this, is that when we built out the architecture to sell it, to launch to his people, and I'm going to actually upload into this module, you'll see like the actual, like what they got, so that you have an understanding of like his offer was $7,500. Jeff's, trying to get here, there you go, was like 2,500 to 10,000. Okay. And I'll talk about my experience in dentistry. But when we launched this, we just launched it off a webinar. Okay. We launched it in a webinar and it went right into a 8-week coaching club. So that was like his package and his thing. But he was already doing it. So that was more about him. He wasn't selling it yet. And so these are two different examples. Like they're like, one example is he's getting paid to do it, but he wants leverage. The other one is I'm really good at doing something, but I'm not really selling it yet. So how do we package that? And then what I've experienced is that, like my buddy, I'm going to talk about my blue collar millionaire guys, right? So Kevin Mirren, like the blue collar millionaire guys, Kevin, I'll talk about Kevin. Chris is his partner, Chris Garrison, super great guys. if you're in the trades or not trades, if you're in blue collar, any level, you need to be in their group. They're just amazing guys. And I even recommend people should check them out anyway, listen to their podcast on YouTube, because Kevin has a really unique perspective of going from very much in debt to growing a multi eight figure gutter business, doing a very like focused model. And so now they have $1,000 a month club, right? And they fill it up using not lunch and learns, but like dinner meetups in cities. That's how they have a big Facebook group that they give away free stuff, and then they invite people to dinner meetups. Now, I have another video that I talk about why you should turn your mid ticket, like your low ticket, like your 1,000, your 3,000, your 5,000, your 10,000, 15,000, doesn't really matter. And you should have a $50,000 offer. I was talking to Kevin about it last week, because even if you never plan on selling it. So we could talk a little bit about today, but I have a whole training just dedicated to that, because in my mind, building out the high end allows you to reverse engineer your 5,000, 15,000, 25,000, 1,000, 2,000, your $10, your $25, whatever those offers might be. It allows you to work backwards from where your end goal might be with your dream client. So that's why we do those types of things, okay? I'm sorry if the writing is a little small. I don't have my camera operator today. It's just me and you. Anyhow, these are just different models. And so Kevin and Chris are turning their expertise into education. Now, in a lot of these cases, these guys don't need the money from the coaching, but they want to impact people because they have a unique skill set that they've developed over time, like you, that they believe they can help people, and they want leverage. It's usually the biggest reason why people get into the information, get into the coaching business, get in the mentoring business. They get a lot of joy out of helping people, and they want leverage, and they want to make money, right? We shouldn't be here unless we're talking about how to make more money for you. The impacting part is assumed that's the goal, right? And so that's you. What does it uniquely bring to the thing? Now, let's talk about the who, right? So I'm going to zip over, I'm going to create a little clarity over here and just say the who, right? So I have something I call level 10 clients. And you're going to have a worksheet on this in your thing, right? Now, the level 10 client is, you should have in the module section, you should have a worksheet that you can work off of in there. And whenever somebody's struggling with sales, it's always in one of three categories. 99% of the time, it's in one of three categories. And when people come to me and they say, Ed, I just want to make more money, I'm not enjoying my business, whatever it might be, there's a list of things that sales are taking too long, blah, blah, blah. We always look at the offer. But when we're looking at the offer, one of the first questions that I want to ask are like, number one, I'll go back to you. What do you want this business to look like? We don't really have a lot of time in this training to talk a lot about what's your dream business and how do we create more freedom for you, and what are you trying to really accomplish that. In our challenge, I highly recommend it, guys, because we go through that. It's 5 days. It's a lot of time. I understand that. But it's like the least expensive way for you to be able to get access to me in a very long period of time. And that's my little sales pitch on that. And I will encourage you to do it probably a couple more times in this, not because I'm selling it, but because you should be doing some kind of form of power day. And I'll talk about that by the end of it, where they get to experience you in a pseudo live environment or a real live environment. So they get to know you. And I have so many strong thoughts on this, but I'm gonna wait till we talk about packaging and the sales process, because I just think you can time collapse, using my book title's name, you can time collapse so many years off of trying to do content virtual from a live engagement. And now in person's even better, but the experience that people will feel you and get to know you when you're on the other end and they're on there, and it's incredible. And then in person takes it another level, okay? So if you haven't figured it out yet, I do go off on a few tangents. So for you guys that are super organized and want like the most specific structure ever, and you don't ever want me to tell stories, I'm not the right guy for you. I'm kidding. Maybe not, but you can't get upset about it because I'm trying to create value for you. And one second. Can somebody get the dog that's barking, please? Okay, so level 10 clients. Now, this is where the game changes. And so I've had many businesses that I've shut down because I launched them, they were successful. I started realizing that the person that I thought I was working with, I didn't really like working with. Okay. They weren't really my personality, or they wanted too much time. Maybe I set up the offer wrong. So I'll take responsibility for a lot of that stuff. But let's just go through what I would consider your level 10 client. Okay. Now, they're the easiest to help. So this is all right here. So I'm not going to write down this just because it gets a little sloppy. They're the easiest to help, right? They are the most enjoyable to be around. Okay. They're the happiest to pay, and they're most likely going to spend more money with you after their initial thing. Okay. Now, I have a couple of little bit of criteria on when we sell to this person. We want to be solving a problem that is immediate, okay, has urgent consequences, is a jugular experience, meaning like they got to stop the bleeding. That doesn't always mean that they're struggling. It just means there's a problem. A good mentor of mine said, you always want to be solving a problem, but here's the thing: rich people want to solve their problem faster than other people. Because for somebody that's got a lot of success going on, they got a lot of things going, and they have a serious problem that's happening right now, they're willing to spend money faster to get it solved. And if you're that person, if you could do that for your people, then you could charge them a heck of a lot more money. Does that make sense? So that's an important writer downer, is like people that have more money are willing to pay more money to solve their problem because they hate their problems more than other people hate their problems. Okay. So when we go through this, I always like to say they're the easiest to help. Easy. What does that mean? Usually easy means that these people are already doing stuff. They've already experienced stuff. They're slight edgers. They're not strugglers, right? They might be struggling with something, but they're not a struggle bus person. Okay. And it's that whole thing of the guy comes in as a consultant, there's a water leak or whatever. They've had this problem for whatever. He goes down there, takes him 15 minutes to solve a problem. He charges them $15,000. They say, what the heck? You've only been here for 15 minutes. And he says, yeah, it took me 30 years to learn the knowledge that it took me 15 minutes to solve your problem that's costing you a lot of money. And so it was easy for him because he had specialized knowledge. When I look at people's offers, easy for me to see the problems. Okay. Why? Because this is what I've done for 29 years now, right? Ever since I got started, right? And I'd also say that it's always easy for a third party to look at someone else's business with these kind of x-ray vision lenses and be like, oh, here's the problem. And are we pointing at the symptom and pressing the pain button by identifying the symptom of the ideal client? Or you just keep talking about features and you're trying to stack more products on top of each other. That's not going to help much. People get overwhelmed with feature stuff. So that's usually a mistake that a lot of guys make. So we want easy to help. Number two is let's just talk about money. They have money. Okay. I would actually put this as number one, and this is number two or three, because it's very easy for me to help people like learn how to set, pass, hit a ball, but there's no money in it. And so I have 7 kids, trying to get them all through school, raise a family, all that stuff. Like, you can't do that when the people you're trying to sell to don't have the money. So number one, number two is right now, no matter what you think you're charging and who you're serving, there's always another group in that vein that you could be helping, that we could be charging more. And I'll be willing to say they're probably easier to help. Okay. Number three, they're happy to pay you. Okay. This is another thing that's super, super important. I'll pick dentistry. Okay. So let me give you my rundown on my offers and how we created it, chose that market. I chose that market because they had money. They were spending money on advertising, like, and I was able to do the research and trade magazines. Nowadays, you can just look on Facebook and see it. They're not always necessarily easy to help, just so you know that. And they're not always fun to have as clients, right? So those are criteria that I've changed over time. But at the time, that didn't really matter to me. I was selling a course, getting work, doing thing, trying to learn thing. This was my transformational opportunities. But what I found was that dental implant doctors, I'm just going to put DI, were a lot easier to help than, say, a general dental office. Okay. The other thing was, if I'm able to get the payoff, this is a question to you. If you're able to get the payoff for them, the result, okay, is it easy for them to justify being happy to pay you? Okay, so if I charge $1,500 a month, that's an $18,000 a year business, and maybe I charge a $15,000 upfront licensing fee because that's what we were doing. What is that? That's $33,000 a year before you sell them anything else or offer any other solutions or whatever it might be. It's very easy to get to $50,000 a year with that type of client. Do you see what I'm saying? But because those pay, because I had a doctor 2 weeks ago get a $60,000 case running one of my ads, okay, for his office. So he just needs one of those a year to justify spending $60,000 a year with me. So you see how that sales pitch just occurred? This doc got a $60,000 case. And so when we talk about what should we charge these guys, how many more case studies of this can I get? If I get a handful more case studies, like I have another doc that got 3 full arch cases 2 months ago. And that's just one of my niches, guys. But let's say you got like a couple guys that got like one client, or in 1 month or whatever, they were able to get that kind of result. There's a good way to get your fee right there, because you go, look, we charge 60,000 a year. Okay, it's 15K, 20K up front. The rest you could either get financing or you pay monthly, or you pay it all in 6 months. It doesn't matter. We'll get to price in a second. But now all you say is, look, here's my 3 case studies. And with each one of these guys, they were able to get that result in the first 15 days. Okay. You see how that works? So that's how we start doing that. And so if they're easy to help, we can get this result faster, which allows us to, it's the end of the day. So I've been working all day. And so I'm like, I got to get this video done before I head off. I'm going to take Eddie, my son, to the golf course. He's my soon to be 11-year-old. And yeah, so thanks for your patience on some of my drinking my water and stuff like that. Anyhow, so do you see how I'm working? This is the beginning of just working the whole framework, because this will actually build my course for me. It'll build my masterclass for me. It's not too hard. Now, let's just say this, right? So do you like the stories? Because the stories is what actually allows your brain to start coming up with different ways and angles. So now when I talked to Jeff was in the asset protection. So we didn't talk about how much he's making people. We would do the opposite, which was, because that audience doesn't want to pay a lot of money for asset protection, right? And I understand it, because it's a prevention sale. And nobody really likes prevention sales. Suck, okay? Like if you said, hey, I'm going to prevent you from having joint pain, that's about the least attractive thing that you could ever sell. However, you remember when I talk about jugular? And they're thinking, I didn't tell you this criteria, they got to be thinking about it daily. In that environment, you need to then scare it up, meaning you got to say, look, let me tell you a story. And so the story that I created from was Bob. Let me tell you about Bob. Bob was a doctor, a medical doctor, who would invest in his own short-term rentals because that was his retirement plan. And so Bob had 3 of them. Now, everything was going great, except one night on a Saturday night, Bob was having a glass of wine with his wife, loving life. They finally made it. He's making good income. His assets are growing like crazy over here. And he's got residual income because he's got tenants in every single one of them this weekend, until his phone rang. And what happened was, one of the tenants was an older woman who went and reached for the railing. The railing broke. She fell down the stairs. Now she's in an ambulance, the broken hip, or whatever my story was, or something like that. And then what Bob didn't know is there was a loophole, and attorneys love these loopholes, is that he thought he was protected, but he wasn't fully covered, and his personal assets were now exposed. And so then at the end of that, it's a free offer, or an offer like I had Jeff start charging like $2,500 for his consult fee, because now the doctor's going to pay $2,500 to make sure that never happens, and everybody listening to that can relate to that story are going to pay that money, because they know that they don't know. And so it creates like a curiosity gap. And so depending on what you're selling, folks, you may take a very, hey, we can get you, are you tired? I still would take this. Are you tired of empty chairs? Or are you looking to add another 12K of production by noon every day? That's a very benefit driven thing. Where with him, we went to the dark side of things, like the dark side of STR investing. What you don't know actually can crush your investment and leave you broke or in lawsuits for the rest of your life getting chased by these guys, okay? Now, the one last criteria, so this is on level 10, right? So they're happy to enjoy. Okay, so this is where I'm just gonna jump right to this part, which is we're actually gonna start building out your higher ticket offer from this, right? So if I say to myself, like, Ed, I can help them with, actually, let's go to the what. How do I help? And then what do you want to do? Okay. Now, this is important because it's two questions, right? So with these people here, if you were able to say to me, Ed, I help, and then I have a little thing here, like a little on the worksheet. I help people. You're on this training with me right now, right? If I was talking to a dentist, I'd say, look, we help you become the number one authority that in your marketplace for insert the solution for dental implants. And we pre-qualify, pre-educate patients so that when they come to your office, they're 99 pre-sold. Okay. And they already know and trust you. And they're ready to move forward with treatment without price objections because they already know the price, without being nervous because they already have seen you like on YouTube and on video, whatever. They love that. And it prevents empty chairs and there's more sales pitches there. So like for you, what are you doing for your top person there? What's your simple, unique selling proposition? Doesn't have to be hard, okay? Now, what we look at next is, okay, so how do we help them? Okay, so we get something or stop something, whatever it might be, okay? Now, if we are live, we can jump in and then we can have this interaction, but we're not live. So I'm just going to fly through this a little bit. So the biggest thing though is that I want to stop here and say, okay, so how do you want to help these people? Because then that'll dictate what we build out. So if we say, okay, Ed, here's the deal. I want to see people face to face. I want to have consulting calls every single day. So I want to have my $5,000 or $5,000 offer, my 15,000, and then, or do you want to be virtual and you have a 495 and this is your layer, right? And maybe that's what you're building out. But the question that I want to encourage you to think about is if you could build this out any which way you want, and you can have a sales process that's built based on how you like seeing others do it, and then what does that look like? Because I will tell you this, if we spend the same amount of time, effort, and energy building out a high ticket offer that sells, and we build it around stuff you don't like doing in the short term, in 1 year from now, you're not going to get much further and you're not going to like doing it. Okay. Ask me how I know this. Okay. Personal experience, right? We'll go through some of those examples now. I want to see how I want to structure this real quick. Just give me a second. Okay. So packaging, I'm gonna loop this all into one thing. High ticket for most of us usually comes in the form of coaching, mastermind, and those are different. I'll go through it. Hybrid, which is coaching, masterminding, plus say something like licensing. Okay. Now this is really something that I would encourage you to consider looking at as a business model for you. And I'll talk briefly about it here. Okay. And then you have done for you. Okay. So I have strong opinions on what is the best model based on what you are hoping to do. Okay. And your personality. So the fact that I don't know your personality, I can't really give you a total script right now. But what I can do is do my best in this training, okay? And I want to think about, we'll cover this just so everyone has the coverage of just high-end services, right? So high-end services, okay? And this could be like stem cells. This could be medical. This could be but it's a little bit of done for you, which is lunch and learns we do for you, okay? Usually when I think of done for you, I think of agency services. Okay. So from personal experience, and then we have what brings people into this, and we have books. We have low ticket, which is what you're watching right now if you purchase this, which is most likely where it came from. And then we have free. Okay. So these are all what I would call your digital assets. Okay. All the way up here, all the way. The whole thing is a digital asset, even if it involves personal stuff, right? You watch Gary Vee, talks about you should be recording everything. But what we're trying to do here is move people from, say, like digital assets to letting them find the direction that they want to have. Okay. Now, what I will tell you this is that when I entered dentistry, so I'll start this way and I'll move back to that way, is that we had a course. Okay. We had a free widget, and then we had a course. This course was like $1,000 to $3,000. Can I save you a lot of time and effort right now? People do not want courses anymore. Do not build a course. There's so many better ways to get the end result of the course. Because what are you trying to do when you sell something to somebody and you give them a course? You're trying to get them the end result. Write that down. What is my end result? Okay. If my end result is they get a patient, they get a client, they have their house asset protected, they have blank, giving them a 30-minute audit and recommended action plan that they pay the same amount of money or even less or more, it doesn't really matter, that you solve one massive problem for them or you create insight for them. I am telling you this, they will jump so fast all the way up here so happily because they finally found somebody they trust who has insight they've been dying for and clarity that they haven't experienced before. Does that make sense? Don't kill yourself for 3 to 4 weeks or 3 months or a year building out a course. I hear guys tell me this all the time. What are you doing, dude? Nobody wants a course anymore. And if you're going to build a course, build a micro, and I wouldn't call it a course. I would call it like a micro accelerator, meaning you can get done with this in 3 hours on a weekend, listening to your audio things. Okay. So but that's what we did. And then what I did from there is I looked at my testimonials. Your testimonials are going to clarify the pathway of the people that were easiest to help. And then we created a $12,000 to $15,000 mastermind. Okay. Okay. And then guess what happened? I got more testimonials. And I found out that it was so easy to help a very specific type of client, which were dental implant docs. Okay. I still have clients in that market. Now, I will tell you, just so you know, like the landscape and competitiveness of that market is at a very all-time high. So please don't take this video and be like, I'm going into that market, unless you have very unique, specialized knowledge that you can apply some of the things we're learning here today and stand out in that space. Then I fully support it. But if you're like, I was new, I didn't know much, I dove full in. I was one of the first guys really doing coaching clubs, masterminds, licensing. So what I did here though, is instead of just charging another mastermind, I created a $20,000 upfront license plus $1,500 a month. Now, this number on top might have fluctuated a little bit, like 18,000, 22,000, 15,000 as I tested things. But then this number below here was pretty consistent, okay? I eventually also built out like a $499, and then I also built out a whole nother profitable division that was like $697. So I have a lot of experience in those other clubs, okay? That could get a little sloppy. I don't think you really need that. I think you could have 3 simple steps and then maybe 1 or 2 big opportunities to have micro events where you're paid a lot of money in 2 days, where you make more money in, say, 4 days of the year than you do all year because you're building up. All of this builds up to an event, okay? Or 2 events or a mastermind or an intensive. I love intensives. I should write that down, actually. I should write that down. And let me actually share this one story with you because we're past the pandemic right now. And so these things here, like an intensive and a mastermind in person, is becoming very famous again. Like people want to do it. And people want that human connection because of social media. So my belief system is that knowing how to actually outline events, put on events, and do them correctly is going to be another superpower because you could bring your tribe together. They're going to get to know you. You're the centerpiece. You're the number one authority, and they're going to spend a lot more money. And you could charge anywhere between $1,000 and 5,000, 7,500. After I sold my dental business, I went into supplements, and I was in that for a good another 10 years. And I was like, oh man, I'm getting burnt out and I want to start a coaching club. And so what I did was, instead of creating a course and doing all the stuff, what I did is I just launched by creating an intensive, a 2-day event, 7,500 bucks. I'm going to share everything I know about how to grow a health supplement business, and I'm going to bring in all my secret experts. Okay. And in a very short amount of time, that was immediately an $80,000. No, it was more than that. It was like $120,000 pop off of my story, just telling my story. And then using my network, using my social media, using people in the ecosystem. And if you could solve one specific problem and then have a model after that, people are going to talk about you, they're going to tag you, and they're going to join in. And if you only had 3 people in a 2-day event that you're charging $5,000 a pop, that's 15 grand. You know what I mean? So again, this should be encouraging to you. Okay. Okay. So let me go through this. I got to be cognizant of the time. And I said 59 minutes. Where are we at? I think we're past our 59 minutes. But I'm going to keep going here to make sure you get what you need. It is coaching businesses are great if you like people and you want to coach people. Okay. I would highly recommend you could do a couple things here. Let me give you a couple options here, because there's not just one way to do this. Like some people, if you have a lot of expertise and you want to mentor, let me actually change that. So you got mentor and coaching. And then your choice is one-to-one or group, which is one-to-many. Now, the difference between, let me just give you this. So usually a pretty standard fee, one-to-one, is anywhere between $2,500 a month to $10,000 a month. Okay. So again, hey, I'm opening up 5 spots of people that want to work with me one-on-one. We're going to help them do XYZ, help them grow their supplement business. I'll make that up. If you're interested, PM me, DM me, or direct message me, and I'll get you the information. Okay. This is a really good business. It's a really good business because for the person who wants to mentor people, the number one rule I just want to encourage you from the get-go is you got to put the safeguards in. You got to lock in, like, how am I going to deliver this? Is it going to be on Tuesdays and Thursdays? I'm talking to private clients. Okay, boom, I got it. Hour, do 3 hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 4 weeks of the thing. When they're in my one-on-one thing, they are able to speak to me one-on-one every other week. Trust me on this. Every week is too much. The only reason they would do every week is because you're growing at a rapid rate and they want, like, maybe you're somebody that's a scale expert or whatever, and they're in it's like a really crazy time and they just need your eyes weekly. Then you should, without a question, be on the 10K a month plan, because it's only 2,500 a week and they're expecting a lot of you and they're borrowing your time. Okay. If you go lower than that, fine. Whatever it is for you, you figure it out. I'll support you on that. But as far as then, the only other thing that I've made this mistake a million times, and I've done it because I like my clients, people I work with, for the most part, I like them, is giving them access if they have quick questions. Just make sure that, look, if you have, say, 10 clients and you tell them, hey, look, here's my cell. If you need it, blah, 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 you can text me. But what I would recommend is just create some boundaries on when and what that is. Okay. Now, if you combine that with your mastermind, then you drive everything to the mastermind as well. You say, look, dude, if you got a question, you can come to me one-on-one, but 10 grand a month, they should be able to text you, in my opinion. They should be able to ask you questions. That's why they're paying that premium dollar. You just got to set up the expectation that you don't necessarily respond right away. And I would set that expectation up, because if you get, you guys get what I mean? Like, you don't want to become text buddies with all your clients. And then all of a sudden you're like, bro, this is like the 45th thing you sent me. And this could wait 2 days. It's not urgent. Like, what should I get my wife for Valentine's Day? I'm kidding. Why is that different than group one-to-many coaching? Why is that different? Group one-to-many would be something like where you're like, hey, it's $1,000 a month. We meet every Thursday, or it could be 2 grand a month. It could be 5 grand a month, right? And we meet every Thursday at this time. and we have, say, a Facebook group or a school group or a Go High Level group. And your goal there is to drive them back to the group. Someone asks a question, not a problem. We will cover that on Wednesday at this time. If it's super urgent, obviously you would cover it because you don't want them in a bad spot. But if it's like something that can wait, you want to push them to the call because the call then makes the group better. And the group then starts feeding the content into your ecosystem. And by the way, that's the best way to grow a group anyway. You can look at what questions are coming in, you build your outline, and then you structure it to serve your audience. But you got to make sure this is because I'll tell you, this is a quick way to ruin your group is you start just answering any question that comes in and there's no structure to it. That means the people that are the most needy end up running the freaking group. Don't do that. Okay. It's bad. So you got to create structure on that. Okay. I think that's pretty good. So group levels, okay, just pricing on that. It could be $297 a month, $497 a month, $1,000 a month. And then again, go back to what I said earlier about well, that's not what I want to look at. Go back. Oh, we said earlier about what's your payoff for the person. I don't even know where I put it. If it's 60,000, if it's 60,000 a year, and all I got to get is one client to justify it as 60,000, then I don't know, maybe all you got to do is meet once a week and you get the minimum result as a group. And if you can do that, now you got a killer group at making 10 times 60 and you got almost $750,000 from 10 people in a group, right? That is on the higher side, but I'm just stretching your brain a little bit because it's important, which also should encourage you to solve bigger problems for people. Okay, the hybrid model, coaching plus licensing. This is really good. And then you could also hybrid this into a little bit of done for you. It's very similar to what I just talked about. The only difference between licensing, listen to me, everybody, this is so important. The only difference between licensing and setting up a coaching club and a mastermind where they get to use your materials is you structure your sales pitch to call it a licensing agreement. When it's a licensing agreement, that means you have permission to use my materials while you're in my group and while you're paying. The moment you leave, you don't have permission anymore. I'm no longer giving you permission to use my intellectual property. Does that make sense? And then that also can segue into done for you. Okay. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about done for you because we're just going on too long and I don't want to do it. Done for you. I made the mistake where I go into done for you and then I realize how much I can't stand it and then I pop out of done for you. And so now I only will partner with outside vendors and people on the done for you side. Okay. The only exception on that is when I go on stage and speak for people because it's my unique ability, it's easy for me to do, and I have a time limit and it's perfect, right? So I guess I'm not telling the truth. I do done for you, but it's not on a, we're gonna get you leads, we're gonna get you clients, because what I found is that you're moving yourself from, if this is a status perspective, okay, and this is correlated to money, by the way. You've seen this before, haven't you? If this is status, if I'm working for you, done for you, this is like a 30-minute talk. I'm going to do it in 2 seconds. If I'm doing done for you, our relationship is now different than if I'm advising you. Do you see the difference on that? So if I'm advising you, if you're calling me in to be the doctor to say, oh, I can fix that problem, or this is how you fix the problem, but it's so clear for me because I have x-ray vision because I've done that thing for 30 years versus I'm going to go write you an email today. If you're waiting for me to write the email, you're not like, when's the email coming? When's the email coming? Versus, hey, how should we fill our event? Okay, let's talk about the strategy around that. Go hire these 2 people. Go do that. Like it's more of an advisory, mentoring, like I'm on your board. But this is where you want to see that. Now, for me personally, when I speak, I maintain that status because speaking and articulating a message and selling from stage is a very unique skill set. Not everybody has it, right? So me doing done for you at that level, happy to do that, right? I'm happy to do consulting. Why am I able to, I'm fine with doing consulting. Again, Consulting, why would I trade time for money? Because they see you as an authority. Consulting comes with a premium dollar amount. Does that make sense? But if you do done for you, you're immediately at the opposite sides of the table. Okay. With few exceptions, unless you love that business, guys, I'm just letting you know, create a licensing thing, turn yourself into an authority. Maybe you have done for you on the back end, but don't position you as the king of the done for you. Okay. Unless you're getting a percentage on that side. Okay. Now I'm not going to talk too much about low ticket here. So let's go through that. We did talk about packaging. So let's go back to my outline. We did talk about pricing, 5K minimum, 10K minimum, and then I think you should have a $50,000 offer as well. Okay. You just should. Now, packaging on that, I think we already talked pretty much about packaging. What I mean by packaging is just like, how are you going to deliver it? What are you pitching? What I would say most people make the mistake of is they're giving too much. Oh, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and we're going to give you this, and we're going to give you that. You're attracting the wrong buyer, in my opinion. I think if you focus on the payoff, and the process that you're telling them to do is the payoff, they should be happy with what you give them because they're not buying what you give them. They're buying what they get in the outcome. You know what I mean? For example, and by the way, if you could think this way, you're going to be much better at selling your thing. What is the end thing that your end buyer cherishes most that they want? And then if you could turn that into what you're selling, and then your mastermind is that, and then your $50,000 thing is just more of that payoff, you're going to sell a lot more. I've made the mistake, like when I was on the come up and I was building out all this crap here for dentistry, I made the mistake of just trying to overcomplicate. I'm going to give you 21 things in this program. No, that's not good. Creates more work for me, but it takes us away from giving them the payoff that they want. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay. Sales process. Last thing I want to cover. Oh, I'll cover a little bit of traffic too. Sales process, right? Okay. If today you said, hey, I'm charging 5K to 50K, right? Do you have a list of people right now that you can go to? So if you said, hey, I'm going to be helping a handful of people with blank payoff. I just created a 15-minute Loom video walkthrough. Comment Loom if you want access to it. Now, this is the closest thing to just getting something out there today. If you put that in an email, you would say reply, and then usually the keyword would be like the payoff. Reply, more patience, and I'll get this to you. Reply, wingman, and reply, VIP, and I'll get it to you. Whatever that payoff is, that's what we want them focused on. Reply, more of this. Reply, something cool, sexy, attractive name that you just made up, okay? And then all we're gonna do is, when they come in, we're gonna send them the thing. And then if they wanna do a quick little call, you could do it that way. I personally love Loom videos when I'm selling super high stuff. I'll do a quick call. Like, hey, let's do a 5-minute call. Tell me what you're up to. I don't even sell them on that. Don't even sell them on that phone. I just want to qualify them. Or I could do that via chat. It's a little bit longer of a conversation here. But this is also why I like webinars, not webinars, but I like workshops. Webinars are good too, but live events and like workshops and things people pay for so that they want to be in that higher level instead of onesie twosie selling. Both work. Alex Hormozy, Cole Gordon, all those guys talking about getting people on the phone, doing the phone thing, that works. And it's cool. It's not what I want to do all day. And it's just not my strength. I'd rather put a group of people in a room, put a group of people in a space, flood people to one location, sell them in that kind of setting, spend time creating YouTube videos, spending time creating content that helps a lot of people at once and get better at that over time, because that's where I want to be in my 10-year vision. You just got to figure out where do you want to be in your 10-year vision. Remember what I said. Don't do things you don't like doing in order to get where you think you want to be, because you're just going to be not where you want to be doing crap you don't want to do. And so what I want you to do is think, okay, what's the dream situation? And let me figure out how to build the roadmap to get there, okay? Now, That's where the sales process is, right? So the sales process you're going through right now is you probably saw an ad, maybe you're on my email list, you bought something low ticket, you're getting this one specific training, very specific, right? If you like this, you're probably going to join my challenge. If you like that, some of you are going to be like, Ed, I want to hire you to speak at my event. Maybe you want to learn more about like our mastermind or a 2-day intensive. I'll just put one-on-one for the like wingman services. And that is for people that want, like wingman is a concept that I teach is, and I spend a lot of money doing this, is hiring people to come speak at my events, but they were set up people, meaning they would, this is my book, Time Collapsing, right? Time Collapsing. In my book, I talk about finding a model, a mentor, a tribe, and then replicating what they've done before you. You need to have somebody in your ecosystem doing that talk for you because it lays all the groundworks of the belief systems of the people that you're selling to. And they're like, yeah, I don't have a mentor. Oh my God, Ed's right. Joe is my mentor, but I haven't hired him yet. I don't really have a tribe. I'm like alone when I go back home. Like that's scary. Like that kind of sales pitch, they need to be aware that that's not going to help their chances of success if they don't have those, because that's part of the formula. See what I mean? So that's one of my high ticket services. Now, here's the thing about this. What are you experiencing right now? Like in this experience, you're experiencing either one of a couple things. Holy crap, this is too much. I don't want to do this. This isn't really what I want to do. Or you're like, yeah, I want more. What are my next steps? That's what you're naturally either going to do or not do. Human nature. It's how selling's done. I'm either going to do it or I'm not going to do it. I don't know if I should do it, okay? If you don't know if you should do it, then you do the next thing that you're willing to part money with, right? So it might be a challenge, it might be a 2-day event, it might be a mastermind. But here's what I want to share with you that should be super encouraging, is if you can structure the content in such a way that you're helping people get a result that they end up building more trust with you, they're going to slingshot up to these higher levels without your effort. Yeah, I'm putting effort in here. You're going to put in effort. But guys, this isn't rocket science, okay? This isn't rocket science. You could do this, okay? So let me just share a couple last minute notes here. So if you do a workshop, like say a 3-hour workshop, virtual, you charge 55 to 97 bucks. I recommend nothing. I recommend you just go to 97 bucks. Because if you want to give someone a discount or something like that, give them a discount, but give them a coupon code, a credit. Don't do 50. Just go to $100, $100, right? If they don't want to spend $100, then they're probably never going to buy anything else from you. Okay. By the way, that's not what I believe on. Like you're watching a video tripwire right now. You're watching a video tripwire. If they're going to buy a book, that's fine. The reason why I prioritize doing these over books is because my end client can get a result quicker because they're only designed to be 60 to 90 minutes long. Everybody has 90 minutes. Most books never get through the first chapter. Okay. And so the reason why I changed my model to doing this versus books first is because I want to get consumption occurring for you. The other thing I was finding, like with free webinars, is I just felt like getting people to show up nowadays, at least right now, is hard. Okay. And the reason why, like the workshop or the video tripwire, we'll just call it for now, which is what you're watching, low dollar amount, $7 to 27. Don't have a strong opinion about the price point. Challenges, 97, 297, 497 is what all the people are doing that are working. I see someone doing $100 and they upgrade people. Right now in AI, there's a nice group of guys doing free, and I'm sure they're upselling people right into the VIP and platinum. It's another part of the formula, okay? And on that training, when people do challenges, they get to what? They get to experience more of you. And then that's where you can have an intensive, an accelerator, or just flip them right into your mastermind, okay? Now, this is a lot of stuff, but it's not. All you gotta do is pick 3. I'm gonna do a book, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this. Is that good, Ed? Yeah, it's good. You gotta get clear on who exactly you wanna sell to, What is the pain point you're really solving? And then let's just get crystal clear on that and then bring them all the way through it. You can always add another level, add another piece of complexity. But my good buddy Vinny right now is just doing, hey, it's either 5K a month as a coach, or I think he's at 2,500 a month in his mastermind. 2 offers, only 2 ways to get access to them. You probably could add one-on-one consulting. If you have people asking for that, you can always tell people like, yeah, I do that. 6 hours, $15,000 for the day. One of my offers that I've had for the last 3 years that's done extremely well is where people come right here and like in the house or in groups where we do interviews to build out their authority assets. If they want one-on-one, it's 15,000. I've charged as much as 25,000 because there's a little more in depth with that. And then, or in group, it's $9,800, like right around 10 grand. And we do a grouping thing because you have the mastermind plus all the assets. So that's a great offer because it's done with you. But when they leave there, I'm not doing done for you. We have resources and vendors they can do it with. Okay. So that's it. That's it. Gosh, man, I didn't have this when I started, right? I had to make up a lot of stuff, spend a lot of money. If you found this valuable, you will be invited, just letting you know, you will be invited to our challenge coming up. We try and run those every 6 weeks. And then we have a couple planned for this summer. I don't know when you'll be watching this, but if it's past summer and we're still running this, then it'll be, just look at that. The goal is to have every 90 days an intensive and then look for, if you're running events, doing things like that, let me know if you want assistance with any of the wingman services. We'll see if it's a fit or consulting on that. Okay. So was that a lot of pressure for you? Did I put a lot of pressure on you? Whereas, look, you have this offer, ends by this date. No, it's silly. So if you create good content, okay, and all right, you want one more trick? I'll give you one more trick. It's not a trick, but like how things have evolved in 2025. The same amount of effort I put into this, if you start putting out content for free on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, with this kind of passion, and it's very similar, if not the same info. Like maybe you hold a couple, like the distinctions is what people want for the high ticket. They don't want more info. So give as much as you possibly can away in your free stuff. Drive them to something that gets them to say yes and charge. And you're just going to find that people that are ready to move quicker are going to go right to the fast lane. People that are going to be a little slower are going to buy your lower ticket or mid ticket. And I believe you should have like lower ticket because the more lower tickets you have, like it's not bringing in bad buyers, guys. Wealthy people buy books. Wealthy people buy things that help them save time. Okay. That's why they got wealthy. Hey, it's Ed O'Keefe. First off, thanks for watching the video. If you're enjoying this, I'd love to invite you to one of our live intensives where we will take your existing offer and we will also then make it into a $38,000, $50,000, even $100,000 offer, and then build out the whole sales structure so that you can be selling it on autopilot every single month, whether you want to do it virtual or want to do it with the events. If you're not there yet, you'll find links in the description for that live training as well as our challenge. Both will serve you incredibly well, and I'd love to see you on that other side. So